Okay, and we are live. Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Monk Breakdown Strategy Guide. So, let's talk about the Monk. All right, here's the status effects here. He gains Chi, and Chi is a token that can be spent to prevent one incoming damage, or alternatively, I can't say this word. Alternatively, you may spend the Chi to increase your attack damage by one. Chi cannot be spent the turn that it's gained in order to increase attack damage. So, however, let me know if I'm wrong on this assumption. I do think the chi that you gain on your defense, you can use that subsequent turn on your offense if you like. So that's kind of the caveat, or like that's kind of how actually I would play this character. I've played him a couple of times and I played against him a whole lot. I don't like. I like this character a lot in terms of like how he plays and the strategy that you take into him. But I have this like love-hate relationship with him because he's so frustrating to play against if someone's playing him correctly. He like slows down what you want to do, or he makes you play faster if you're trying to play slower. So like he's like this balancing character that can kind of poke at the weaknesses of almost any of the characters. The biggest thing that he doesn't have is economy, so he can't draw or gain a whole lot of CP. So that's sort of where you can gain advantage against him. But there's not a whole lot else, man. This guy is just perfectly balanced, and he's kind of like Bruce Lee, man. You know, be water, my friend. Pour the water in the cup, become the cup, man. You know, or crash and flow, whatever it is. So anyway, that's a whole long-winded thing to say that Chi token is actually kind of ridiculous in this term. So like, one reason is because it can be used for defense or offense, and you can get a stack of 5, which is insane. But because so it's like it's good in numbers, like when you accumulate a lot of them, but it's not almost not worth spending like the CP in the card of like removal on your turn if you're playing against the monk. So it's like this weird in between spot. You don't know what to do with the chi because he can gain so much of it, and it's so versatile and flexible on how he uses it. So if that sounds cool to you, the monk is going to be a character for you. I love the monk. I like the challenge of playing against him. I feel like he's a little cheap when people are good with him, so I don't want to play as him a lot of the time because he just feels kind of scummy. But no. This character is actually kind of crazy. So, evasive, we've already talked about evasives before, I'm pretty sure, with the Moon Elf. You just roll a die on a 1 or a 2, you receive no damage. You have a stack limit of 3. Knockdown, we have not talked about knockdown yet, so it's sort of like concussion or alpha, sort of. So you remove this token that when a player is afflicted with it, you have to spend 2 CP before you start your offensive roll phase. So either you don't take an offensive roll phase, or you just spend 2 CP to get rid of the token, and then take your offensive roll phase. If you're calculating that correctly, every income step on your turn, you gain a card and gain a CP. So you can technically always get rid of this token to take your attack. You just sell the card that you drew, even if you're out of cards and you're in before you draw. You have enough to get rid of it, and that's probably the play every time. I don't think he's going to be applying knockdown that much to where you might get in that situation, but if you put yourself in that situation and he applies knockdown, just keep that in mind. The gunslinger can actually do this. She can apply knockdown a crap ton if she gets into certain cards, but that's next week or next time, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's go to cleanse. We've talked about cleanse with the Seraph. A player with this token may spend it at any time to remove a single status effect token from themselves immediately. So you can't really apply burns and poisons very often on this guy either. So this dude is like semi-tanky, but he also is semi-bursty, and it's all thanks to the chi tokens, man. All right, so let's get into it. His basic attack. Fist Strike. Now, if you notice, it's 6, 7, 8. That's pretty daggone high for just a baseboard basic attack. The reason being is that he has the like this weird die face construction or configuration. So 1, 2 is a fist, a 3 is a palm, and then 4, 5 are Zen, and then a Lotus is his 6. So he's got the 2, 1, 2, 1 die face configuration, which makes some of his rolling objectives hard to string into one another and actually just hard to get out of the gate. But due to this, he has a lot of the payoffs are pretty decent. So Fist Strike being one of them, I think it's pretty solid at 6, 7, 8. It does have a couple upgrades. Its first upgrade is worth 1 CP and increases the damage at every stage by 1. Pretty solid. And honestly, like I said, I don't play Monk a whole lot. That seems really strong to me. I don't know. Maybe it's not, but that seems pretty strong. But I don't know how often you actually want to go into this ability. It's definitely a fallback role. Like getting only 3 for 7 is kind of nutty. So if you have the 3 fallback roll, which you're going to be using to try to get combo strike anyway with the 3, but if you don't get that 3, then you can. If you don't get that the palm symbol, you can just fall back onto a 7, which is decent, especially if you have enough chi to make this like 10 plus, which you probably will. So yeah, no, the monk's good. His basic attack is good. You probably don't even need to upgrade his basic attack all that much, but I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's what do you want to do? Like, what do you like to do? Someone else who's played monk, let me know like what's worth the upgrade. I know there's a couple that I will definitely, for those of you who have not played them before, I definitely recommend you getting. But this one is kind of up in the air. So it's the second version of it, or the upgrade to the upgrade. It's worth 2 CP. And keep in mind, if you ever do upgrade a card earlier, it's only the difference between the two upgrades. So like if you did get this upgrade, this would only be 1 CP on top of that. So, but without this one, it's cost 2. So anyway, that's just mechanics. All it does is add a knockdown chance for 4 of a kind. It doesn't increase the damage at all. I actually don't think this is worth it at all. You're not really going for this ability a whole lot, I don't think. And having knockdown on 4 of a kind is very, very rare. So I almost think you can always sell this. Yeah, so that's that. Heading over to meditate now. So this is your little build-up turn, kind of like a lot of characters have one of these at least. So you gain 5 chi and gain an evasive or gain a cleanse. So you get to pick, which is really nice. That's another thing about him. Like you can choose which one you want, and not a lot of characters have that. Like choose which one is better for you in a situation. And gaining 5 chi is a lot. Like it's like basically say deal 5 damage or prevent 5 damage. And then also gaining an evasive or a cleanse. So super good, super good. It's a really good ability. I think this is always an ability you want to try to activate early on when you're playing monk. It's kind of just like all the other characters I've talked about where they have this build-up phase. Activating this on turn 1 or turn 2 is very, very valuable for him, but it's vulnerable to less status effects, but that's almost, that's just Dice Throne in general. Everyone who builds up a bunch of stuff in one turn, what status effects is the ultimate counter to that. So yeah, good card. It does have an upgrade. And this is one of the ones I think that you probably should play almost every time. Reason being is not necessarily because of the upgrade to Meditate too, which gains you an extra chi, so you gain 6 chi instead of 5, and then you gain an evasive and a cleanse, so you don't have to choose one or the other, you just get both. But this is the reason why I think you do this. You gain 2 chi, well, you deal 6 damage and then gain 2 chi. So you're gaining chi while dealing damage at the same time. And I think if I were to play the monk, this is how I'd be wanting to play. I want to be dealing as much damage while gaining as much chi as possible at the same time, using the chi that I gain on my offense for my defense to mitigate damage, and then using my chi that I gain on defense for my offense, and just keep running that cycle, because that way you're just constantly mitigating and constantly buffing yourself. So you're mitigating damage coming into you, but also constantly buffing yourself on the damage that you're dealing. So I think this is almost an always play, or especially early. Like caveat, all the upgrade cards are basically only play 1 through 3, first 3 turns, first 4 turns. So yep, that's a good one. Combo strike. So this is 3 1s or 2s and then 1 3. Deal 6 damage. A lot of characters have this kind of a thing on the side here too, like where you just deal a base amount of damage and then you roll a die. Deal 6 damage, roll a die, and then on a 1 or 2 you add 2 damage. So it's 8 at base theoretically, if you think about it that way. Well, actually, I need to slide the board over. Sorry, you guys couldn't even see that. It's 8 at base, and then if you roll a 3, it's dealing 9. And then if you roll a 5, a 4 or 5, you gain 2 chi, which is this is one of your main ones that you want to get because you can possibly gain chi while also dealing damage. And then on a 6, you can gain evasive or a cleanse. Honestly, the 6 is the worst out of all these, which is kind of funny to think about. I would rather do 2 damage than gain evasive or cleanse. Well, evasive can be better than 2 damage. If it hits, and in some matchups where you're going to be relying on that evasive, but I don't know. I'd almost rather have the 2 damage than the evasive. But anyway, regardless, matchup dependent on the 6. Yeah, it's a great ability. This is going to be, I think, your bread and butter, what you want to go into most of the time, and then this is your fallback when you miss this. Basically, it's kind of how that gets juxtaposed. I don't know. It does have an upgrade. Monk has a lot of upgrades actually for having no economy. Being a 0 econ hero, he has like a crap ton of upgrades. So. Cost 2 CP. It actually decreases the base damage of the ability, so it goes from 6 to 5, but you do get to roll 2 dice. So I don't know. It always feels bad when they do this on upgrade cards, man. They lower your damage base and then they increase the potential. I don't know. It's weird. But everything stays the same except for you get times. So so this is kind of crazy. If you do land the chi, you can gain 4 chi tokens. So that's what that means. And that's really the biggest jump or biggest thing that kind of stands out that I noticed from the upgrade. Is it worth it? I don't know. I really don't. I mean, you can technically roll 2 3s which would be nutty. That's 6 plus 5, that's 11 damage. And then whatever chi you have just lying around, that could be ridiculous. So it's probably worth it, I think, when you're trying to go full aggro and you have a lot of chi stacked up, and you get it, like I said, and you get it in like the first few turns, or if you're like gonna plan on using this to finish someone off, like, you know, your opponent has like 10 or less health, and you have this just sitting around in your hand, and you're thinking, well, it's decently high odds to roll this ability, and you're just trying to, you know, land a massive hit. It might be worth it there, just for like a finisher move, but you know, it depends on your play style. I do think it's worth it most of the time because it's basically what you're trying to do, trying to deal damage and gain chi at the same time. You can do that at base. While it does decrease your damage on the initial damage or whatever, the base roll damage by 1, you're going to net positive by at least 1 or 2. Actually, probably by at least 2 with this upgrade. So it is worth it. I think this is probably one that you do upgrade, regardless of the little damage decrease there. It kind of annoys me, but whatever. Tempest Rush. So this is 3 3s. Now, if you're doing the math and you're paying attention, or for those of you who've played them before, you only have one symbol, palm, and that's only on a 3. So this is technically a micro alt level of difficulty to roll. So keep that into consideration, but it is a payoff. This thing is crazy. This is like overpower for the barbarian. And like I said, we're gonna get into him soon. He's one of my favorite characters. Okay, so Tempest Rush. Honestly, I just love Dice in general. I love all the characters, but okay. 3 3s, you roll 3 dice and then deal damage equal to the total value. So it has an upper echelon of 18 and a very minimal of 3. Are you going to get 3? Probably not. Are you going to get 18? Probably not. I'd say cut it somewhere in the middle. What's right between 3 and 18? I have no idea. 3 minus 18 is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. It's probably around 8 to 9 is your average. Probably you're averaging around 8 to 9 damage with this thing. That's pretty good. Okay, so let's look. This is like an average of 8. Basically, this is an average of 8. This has an upper end of 8. You're averaging 7. He already, in my opinion, on this half of the board has an above average base board, and that's all due to his dice facing hard objective rolls. So if you can figure out your roll patterns with him, I think he's a really good character. All right. And then plus his versatility. So I'm glazing this guy because I think he's really, really good. Every time I play against him, it's always a rough match, and usually I lose. Anyway, all right. You're small straight. Deal 6 damage, then gain 2 chi. Hey, that's exactly what we want. We want to be gaining chi while dealing damage. Perfect. And that's basically an 8. If you look at it, it's an 8 delta. So it does have an upgrade as well, worth 1 CP. So hey, 1 CP, that's not bad. Pretty cheap for him. You increase your chi gain. I think that's probably worth it. In my opinion, it's probably worth it, especially because it's cheap, and if you get it early enough, like, that's what you want, and this is one of your easier objectives to roll, so I do think you go for this for sure. Oh, I totally forgot. I'm sorry, guys. There is an upgrade to Tempest Rush. It's also worth 1 CP, right? So due to this, I think it's worth it. The thing with this is it lowers the knockdown threshold. I forgot to tell you that too. Okay, so on base, if you roll a 13 or higher, you inflict knockdown. Sorry. When you upgrade it for 1 CP, if it's a 12 or higher, you inflict knockdown. But you also can spend 1 chi to re-roll any one of these die. So that's good too. So you do get 1 re-roll, which really increases the chances of you being able to inflict knockdown. I will say this: if you draw this early enough, it can completely change what you're trying to do with this character. Inflicting knockdown like in consecutive turns is absolutely crippling for some heroes in this game. And then also dealing 12 damage plus every turn is insanity. So if you do like a 1 build-up turn and then you just keep rolling and keep landing Tempest Rush after you've upgraded it, that's game. It's lights out. It's game over. So yeah, I think this is worth it for sure. 1 CP, yeah, absolutely. Okay, sorry. All right. Now, if you're keeping in mind that a lot of these are worth it, this is worth it, this is worth it, this is worth it, and this is worth it. This, not so much. You don't need to be upgrading that. I don't think, anyway. I might be wrong on that. Monk mains, let me know. All right, so your large straight. Sorry, jump back all the way over here. You know, the combination. And then you deal 7 damage and then gain evasive and 3 chi. So that's pretty good. You're gaining evasive and 3 chi. It's pretty solid. So basically, you look at it as a delta of 10 plus an evasive. That's pretty solid. Just you're not going to be rolling it a whole lot. It does have an upgrade. Here is the upgrade. It's 2 CP. It doesn't increase damage or anything. It just gives you knockdown. Yeah, I don't think the 2 CP is worth it for this. And even the secondary effect that you get here. So one of each symbol, gain 2 CP and then deal 3 undefendable. That's good, but that's kind of that is a hard combination to roll. It's not easy. Usually it's going to take about 3 turns to roll, and then they can just push you off of it pretty simply. But I will say, if you're going against someone that you really value that undefendable, then maybe it's worth it if you draw it early. But almost always I sell this card. I almost always sell the large straight upgrades. It just never pans out, man. Like people will not let you roll your large straight. It just almost never happens unless they don't have any CP or any cards in hand. So, all right, mini ult. Deal 5 undefendable. Increase your chi stack limit by 1, and then gain 5 chi. Max stacks almost. Max stack limit starts at 5, and then that would increase it to 6, and then you would gain 5. Yeah, 5 undefendable plus 5 chi. That's pretty crazy, especially increasing your stack limit. That's awesome. You'll take it if you roll it pretty strong. Upgrade 2 CP. Increase the damage. Increase the chi gain. So that's kind of nuts. If you do upgrade this and then land it, you're basically increasing the stack limit and then going and max stacks immediately and dealing 6 undefendable. That's really strong. I find that really strong. So yeah, especially if you have chi already waiting around, you can use the chi immediately before you gain all your chi to go max stacks. And then it's whatever undefendable you have for that. This is a really strong ability. Now, it is how often are you going to roll it? You have 0 economy with this character practically. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy good. But yeah. So if you're the type of guy or girl that likes to roll only 6s, sure. It's back up the 666. You deal 2 undefendable, and then you gain an evasive and 2 chi. It's solid. It's solid. It's basically, it's almost the exact same as this. It's almost the exact same as this. So that's fine. Like I said, if you really need undefendable options, maybe you get both of these just because you need the undefendable damage. Those are the only undefendable options for the monk here. He requires upgrades to deal undefendable damage. Well, here, I guess, but anyway, all right. And then your defense. I will say this, at surface level, it does not look that good. Holy crap, is he super tanky, and his defense is actually bonkers. So you roll 4 on 4 or 5, which, here, we need to look at this. You need to know the die face. So on your most common die faces, on 4 or 5, is when you get something, or on 1 or 2 is when you get something. So you don't get anything on 3 or 6, unfortunately, but that's fine. You're going to average around 1 chi and 1 damage back every roll because you're rolling 4. You'll get at least 1 of those. Typically, you'll get 2 of those. It has a couple upgrades. It does have 1 upgrade for 2 CP, I'm sorry. And then it gives you 5 dice for the same. And then this will average about 3 delta. So you'll either get, 2 chi and 1 damage back, or 2 damage and 1 chi back. That's the average. Sometimes you'll get 4. That's crazy. Like the fact that he has potential to do 4 delta is nutty. And he has 1 more here. So this allows you to, when you do roll a 6, to do some stuff. You stay at 5 dice, obviously. It's 3 CP, and then you can gain an evasive or a cleanse when you roll a 6, in addition to one of your 4s and 5s. So yeah, I think this is only playable. This one specifically, the second upgrade, is only playable when you're really valuing evasive. But with the monk, I don't think you really need to value evasive all that much. The only time I don't think it matters. You might want to consider it if you're going against someone who can deal consistent high undefendable damage. Maybe evasive's worth it there. But otherwise, dude, you're going to be getting that mitigation off of your chi just every turn anyway. I think this is worth it if you draw it early enough, and if you know that they're going to attack your defense a whole lot. So yeah, he's pretty straightforward. Like, he isn't complex in theory and understanding. He's just complex in execution because of his dice face. So due to that, like we always do, let's do some rolls. Nope, I lost one out of frame. It's a 6. We have got so 2, 2, 4, 5, 6. So here we are. We're close to meditate, and we're also kind of close to a combo strike. I think it depends on what you're doing. If it's your first turn, I would consider maybe meditate over combo strike. But if it's your second or third turn, you want to be damaging people. You want to be getting the damage off. I think you should go for combo strike and then fall back onto your fist strike, your basic, just because it's It's like if you miss this, you're usually missing it because you didn't get the 3, not because you didn't get the 1 or the 2, right? So for right now, we'll hold this. And we're not exactly close to a straight. If we had 3, we would already have a straight, but we could keep the 6 and go for a small straight if you guys really thought that would be a better option. But I think meditate's almost always good first turn. See if we can get it. Oh, goodness. Well, we have a small straight, so I think I'd just go with that. Small straight, 6 damage and 2 chi. That's good. We're always trying to deal damage, always trying to gain chi. It's fine with me. I'll go with that. Then we're gonna go next turn. Oop, I'm trying to do this through the camera. Wow, we literally rolled a large straight this time. So I think you just take that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just take your large straight. So this is disruptible, and I think if you're playing against the monk, you do need to consider what roles do you think are worth disrupting. And in my honest opinion, these are the ones that you want to target, and also the large straight, obviously. So you could change that 4 to something, 4 to a 3. But if you be careful, if you do change that 4 to a 3, then you're getting them close to a Tempest. I would typically, like if you have like tip it, I would tip it up to a 5. I would have them be closer to meditate than like to the damage, in my opinion, when you're playing against the monk. So, geez, I flipped every side except for the one I wanted. So, yeah, for those of you playing against the monk, I would save your dice manipulations for when they land one of these 2 or this one as well. Obviously, just let them have that stuff, right? And obviously you're going to be, not letting them land an ultimate because, I didn't even read that. Dude, this breakdown is absolutely awful. The breakdown is, okay, so his ult is all 6s, obviously. You gain an evasive, gain a cleanse, inflict knockdown, deal 10 damage, increase your chi stack limit by 1, and then max out your stacks. Gain 6 chi if you haven't already done it at least once. That's basically like a 16 delta with a bunch of status effects. That's super strong. That's really, really strong. That's an insanely strong ultimate. So, like I said, dude, this dude's values on his abilities are usually really high. So I think that's why he does so well. I know a lot of people, see, like this. Okay, so we're here. I think you go for this. Okay, and then I would hold that too. And then, so see, that's a perfect example of what would happen. Going for this is pretty safe. So now we just fall back to a 7 damage fist strike. So, all right, guys, that is the monk. Let me know what I got right and what I got wrong. You monk lovers, your monk mainers out there. Yeah, let me know, guys, because honestly, I just find him so solid. Like, if you are somewhat, what would you call it? If you're not completely new to Dice Throne, give Monk a shot. Like, if he's like your 3rd or 4th character trying, or you've been playing for a while, you've never tried him, try the Monk. I think you'll like him. He's just such a solid character. He's hard to be bad with, I think. He's just hard to do poorly with when you practice him just for a little bit for his role objectives. So they are kind of tricky, and you can get whiffed a lot if you're going against a high control character. I think that's his biggest weakness. Any characters that have a high economy, that can get a lot of control, that can change out your dice and stuff. Like, I actually think Scarlet Witch goes into him pretty well, because she can take that. She gives him that reality warp that could really cripple the monk, and she has a lot of dice mod cards, and she has a decent amount of not a huge amount, but she has enough economy to where she can draw through her deck to get the dice mod cards and stuff to really mess up his roll. So that's how you have to kind of play against them. Either that, or you have to be a highly defensive character to, like, flights, evasion tokens, stuff like that to mitigate a lot of his damage too. So you have to, but the problem with usually those characters is they have to attack into his defense. So they're fueling his chi economy thing anyway, even though they're mitigating his damage. He's mitigating their damage just as much, if not more, and then also pumping out more damage than they can deal back for his chi. So he wins that typically too. So yeah, literally you have to make him whiff. You got to make him whiff. But this isn't a strategy guide to how to beat the monk, but how to win as the monk. So you guys let me know, how do you win with monk? Because right now, the only thing I think about is how am I going to beat this idiot because I keep losing to him. All right, thanks for watching. Peace out.